Hey y'all, I'm Shayna and I'm back with another review. This is for LAMH Huntsville Season 6, Episode 4, Blaque-xploitation. I think this episode was actually really good, especially because the first 3 episodes, we didn't need them. We could have just started here, okay? But we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Before we do, if you enjoyed the video after you watch it through, be sure to like, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Hit the subscribe so I can keep making content and check out my other videos. Okay, so we pick up where we left off with Tisha spa day, and the ladies are still arguing. Okay, I can't believe, I was looking at Tisha and Kiki because last week Tisha said that she's the older cousin, or that Kiki thinks she's the older cousin. I think they're like the same age, maybe a few months apart, or like not that far apart. But I just can't believe Tisha's the older cousin. Like Kiki just seems and looks older than Tisha. But that's just my thoughts. So Kiki feels like Tiffany, she don't got no big family, because Tiffany's like, I don't have a lot of cousins or anything like that. But basically, like, what you did was wrong. And Kiki was like, that's why you need to mind your business, because you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even have no cousins, so mind your business. For me, I feel like what Tiffany is saying isn't wrong. It's just not her place to say it. Like, it was just unnecessary. That's between Kiki and Tisha. If you don't want to fool with Kiki, then don't. But, like, why are we making it such a thing? Like, she trying to get that check and stay on that show, okay? So Stormy starts going off at Kiki, and she mentions Marsau and the infidelity allegations. And Tisha's like, oh, no, yeah, but I don't even want to go there. Let's not even bring it up. I don't want to talk about it. And Stormy talks about it anyway. She like disregards that. Like, yeah, okay, but anyway, Kiki, you're her cousin, so you should have been shutting that down. Now, how could Kiki shut those rumors down when it's true? Allegedly. So, I mean, how could she shut it down? But she did, like, kind of co-sign and almost seem like she was validating that it was correct, in my opinion. But, I mean, I don't know. So, in her confessional, Mel was like, look, folks sure will mess up a massage. They will ruin a spa day. And then she was like, go back to the beginning. So they showed a clip from season 1 when, she had that blind short with the blind piece in the front, the 27 piece. That's when the show was really good. The first season's always the best. But anyway, that's when the budget was low. Everybody's hair was just kind of doing what it do. And then her and Tisha and Kimmie were arguing. And I'm like, ooh, that footage, it stays out there forever. So as Stormy and Kiki are cussing each other out, Mel's like, nope, time to go. Like, she's getting up in the middle of it, like hugging everybody, talking about bye, using her fake sick voice. And in my opinion, I think it was absolutely a fake sick voice, because later on her real voice seemed to make an appearance. But okay. Then she comes back after she gets her clothes on and was like, this isn't what, we desire for the night. Like, basically, ladies do better. And Stormy cuts her off and like, nah, I disagree. We put everything out on the table. We hashing everything out. So this is a good night. Like, I don't got no issues. Nobody's beefing. Nobody's fighting. Like, are y'all mad? And they was like, no, we not mad. And she's like, nobody's mad. So this was actually a good thing. And I was like, well, if you think this is a good thing, if you think this is like a productive conversation, that's part of the problem, but none of my business, let me go. And that's when she was like, woo child. And I'm like, I don't hear no fakeness in that woo child. But okay. So she get to going, and Kiki did say, like, nothing got resolved. And she's right, nothing did get resolved. But there was issues that, like, I didn't even realize were, like, why are these even issues? So then we see Martell, and he's having a guy's indoor softball gathering with the Scott brothers. And Maurice arrives first, because, he always on time. And he joking, laughing about Martell's hoochie daddy shorts. And he like, you wearing these hoochie daddy shorts in the middle of winter. Got his legs oiled down with Vaseline and greased up. I'm like, he just want to show off. Who cares if it's, 30 below? He gonna show off. So then he gets a phone call, and he ignores it, and Maurice was like, was that Sheree? And I'm like, why every time he get a phone call, somebody talking about, is that Sheree? Like, could it have been his mama or somebody else and he just didn't want to answer? It's always convenient that Sheree just always happens to call when they're filming. We never seen his phone ring any other time, but now this season, every episode, we hear his phone ring. But they better be cutting Sheree a check for using her likeness on the show. So, Maurice calls out Martell for trying to walk Melody to her car. And Martell says, look, he's always been a gentleman, always has been, always will be. She's the mother of his 4 kids. When he says that, he always says she's the mother of my 4 kids, like he don't got that 5th child. But okay. And he was like, look, he wants to make sure she's safe. She's fine. She doesn't need your assistance. A gentleman doesn't have a 5-year-long affair, though, and an outside baby. Just saying. So Marsau arrives, and after they play a game, the 3 of them get to talking. Now, it seemed like the conversation was nice, but I couldn't hear with all that noise in the background from people hitting those balls with those bats. Like, maybe they should have stepped to the side or went somewhere else. Like, it was a little hard to hear. The mic was picking up everything. But Marsau gave his dad praise for raising 8 kids. He said he had 8 kids by the age of 27. Their parents was getting busy. Ain't no, maybe back in them days, but in today's climate, having a child is like too expensive, okay? But they said they didn't have a lot of money, but they had a lot of love, so that was great. But it seemed, from just judging off what his daddy was saying, that he was barely around because he was always working because he had so many kids. You got to be present as well. Martell said he wants more kids and Sheree would be down to have some. I don't believe that. I don't believe Sheree would be down to have. Why? Martell has small school-age children. Sheree has 2 grown children. Why on earth would she be? She at the point she 50 years old. She about to be a grandmother sometime soon, possibly. So why would she be down to have more kids? Like, that just, I don't believe that. Marsau asked Martell if Sheree is the one. The short answer is no. He was him and a Han. I don't really think so. No, that means no. If you ain't it firm yes, then it's a no. And he still wants Melody, so there's that. In his confessional, Marsau feels Martell is moving on from his divorce. What world are you living in? Like, where have you been? Like, did you not just see him chasing Mel down trying to walk her to her car the other day? Like, what? So, then in the next scene, we see Marsau. He's talking to his new hire. I did not catch the guy's name. I'm so sorry. But they discuss working together and seeing how things go. Marsau refers to it as I'm dating. He's like, we're dating each other right now. And if we like it, then, we're going to lock in. And if we locked in, then ain't no switching up. Okay. And the new guy was like, if you treat me like Tisha, I don't know if I want to get married. I said, ooh. If everybody's saying it, like, it got to be, come on, it's something. So, Marsau said he dated Tisha for a month and told her he wanted to get married. Like, he knew she was the one. He wanted to marry her after just knowing her for a short time. I will say when it be years on years on years and you still waiting to figure out if that man want to marry you, it don't take all that time for a man to know if he want to marry you. No, maybe it might take a while to get married. It don't take no years for a man to decide if he want to marry you, okay? It don't. But from what I remember seeing, it looked like Tisha was pregnant in the wedding photos. He was like, well, after a month he knew, and then it's been 17 years. It looked like Tisha got pregnant, and then y'all went and got married. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. It looked like she got pregnant, and then y'all just said, let's just get married, and she been stuck with you ever since. That's what it's seeming like. So Marsau said, his partner came from a much larger company and he needs to bring that like large company thinking to scope because it's a smaller company. And his partner was like, well, Tisha needs to be more involved. And he said Tisha's an asset. We know Marsau did not want to hear that, okay, at all. He was like, wait, that's why I hired you because I don't want nothing to do with Tisha. But okay. Marsau expressed that he shields Tisha from negative things, business-wise and whatever. He like to talk, honey. You shouldn't be shielding her from anything because she's the owner. Girl, if you don't put your both feet down, goodness. The partner said, he gives good business and marital advice. And he said, like, look, you just need to face it head on and you need to be honest and just tell her. And he was like, Tisha is your partner. Like, y'all are partners, life partners, and business partners. So you shouldn't be keeping things from her. Marsau don't subscribe to that. He don't look at them as partners because then that would, like, people look at partnership like it's equal. And he doesn't look at Tisha as his equal. He looks at her as being a woman and he thinks she's beneath him, even though she's the owner. But all right. The partner said he wished he would have been a better partner to his ex-wife. He was like, and listen, notice he said ex-wife, heavy on the ex-wife. Maybe he realized too little, too late what he should have been doing, because now he's able to give this good advice. But clearly, he needed to be taking some, or he might have still been married. But he said all these gender roles and stuff, like putting her in a box, that's outdated. Like, it don't really align with what's going on today. Like, you need to make sure she's able to fend for herself if something was happening to you. Marsau gave him a mean side eye. I peeped that. So the business partner said, not having her involved is hurting them more than it's helping them business-wise. And it seemed like Marsau may be having an epiphany, or at least he's pretending to for the show. Either way, seemed like the business partner was getting through to him. So Kimmie invited Melody and Tisha to her office to discuss them getting together. In the meantime, when Tisha arrived, she showed the extra room they had that Maurice was using as a podcast room. But she's like, it's just vacant. He had all his stuff still set up. So you sure you want to be maneuvering? And listen, Kimmie said, look, I'm trying to get a check. Why go to the coffee shop when you can rent out a space here and pay us to have somewhere to go? Or you should have been working in that office where your husband was at, because he shouldn't have been kicking out his wife. I don't know. I don't think Tisha would work there, but I could be wrong, because I didn't think Mel was going to show up to that spa day, and she did. The producers must have been like, look, your days of not filming with nobody are over. They're done. So Mel arrives and she was like, it's funny that we're on the same page. And she's like being subtle. And she's like mentioning the shady comments that Tisha made about her having a dark soul. And she's like, it's funny like that a dark soul can change in just 3 to 4 months. And it's like, stop all the passive aggressiveness. That's why she thinks he got a dark soul now. Ultimately, they agree to get together and have a tea party with the rest of the ladies. They got, Tisha's like, we're the core of the group. We're basically the ones that got the group together. So we got people working under us. We have daughters, this and that. So we should get together. They got to have a ladies event if they don't do nothing else. So Marsau and Tisha are talking about the Blaque Expo that they want to do. And Marsau explains that, he hasn't been a good teammate to her. He hasn't been a good partner. And that he thought he was protecting her, but really, ultimately, he was hindering her. Tisha, maybe she should have got kicked out of that office like 10 years ago. Maybe if we would have hired that business partner a decade ago, maybe her marriage would be much better today's date. So Tisha said, his business partner is basically the new Dr. Francis. So she like, he told you all that? And he was like, we talked about it and all this stuff. And basically everything that the business partner said, he regurgitated it back to Tisha. The business partner ain't no Dr. Francis. He just saying what everybody else been saying. Dr. Francis been saying this, and so has literally everyone else. Marsau just didn't want to hear it. See, the only difference now is a man he actually respects is saying it, and that's why he's opened up his ears and eyes and listening and hearing what he has to say. But let's see if he back it up with action. I don't get too excited off of no words. Tisha is happy, like, to the point where she's trying to force out some tears, but then at the same time, maybe she didn't want to mess up her makeup or her lashes. I don't know if she was holding tears back or trying to force one out. The reaction, I don't know. But she was like, oh, this, everybody's like, give up, but this is like, you come to the other side, and it's like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't give up on my marriage because things get better. And while that could be true, didn't nothing get better yet. He just kicked you out the office last week. Like, nothing has changed yet. All he did was repeat something that somebody else said to him. He didn't do anything differently as of yet. I mean, I hope he does, but as of right now, he ain't did nothing. So Tisha invited the comeback group for a meeting. I'm glad that we're having, I guess they're, been listening because we've been having a lot more time with, like, the comeback group, the original six. Like, we like them. Like, the other people, that's nice and everything, but we came for the original six. So it seemed like they starting to call themselves the core six. So just say the comeback group. Because that's what that's what it was. That's what it's going to be. Tisha and Marsau arrived to their meeting 45 minutes late, wasting people's time. I'm not, I'm usually running late myself, but I feel like after 15, 20 minutes, that's just disrespectful, especially when it's your meeting. We could have did this on a Zoom call. So they claim that this group this thing they're trying to do with this Blaque Expo is reminiscent of the comeback group, but this ain't that, okay? That's what y'all say, but let's get into it because Kimmie was saying something different. So the Scots 1.0 give a presentation with just their faces, so it looks like it's just their thing. And initially it seemed like everyone was on board. Like, it seemed like everyone responded positively. But Kimmie pipes up and was like, let me stop y'all right there. Let me step in. I got something to say. And she was like, what's the objective for the event? Like, is everyone supposed to just show up or putting it together and everybody's just, when the event comes, like, here we are. I'm here to do my part. And in her confessional, Kimmie said, look, y'all try to rebrand the comeback group and resell it to the actual comeback group. She said, look, this idea is not new or original. Oop. So Tisha gives a fluff answer, and Mel said, okay, I like the idea, but what's the budget? Basically, Mel like, look, if we already talked about doing it before, we could do it again, but this time you gonna pay me. Okay. She like, what is the budget? Like, what are you paying the speakers? Tisha was confused, like, budget, what are you talking about? Oh, you ain't think about that, huh, Tisha? The minute she said that, she was like, huh? She was all confused. Now ain't the time to be acting all ditzy, Tisha. You ain't think about that, did you? So, because she didn't want to pay nobody. And Mel was like, well, what's the fee? Like, what's the fee? And Tisha said she wanted it to be a free event. The minute you say free, honey, the people say no. The people say no. Martell whispered to Marsau, he's like, ask her what her fee rate is. And Mel got agitated and was like, that's none of your business. Yeah, you better be careful, Melody. Don't tell him because he might try to go and get you for child support next. So Kimmie asked Tisha, she's like, what's your marketing objective? Like, are you just posting it on your social media? Or like, what's the game plan? And Marsau was like, well, we're going to post on our platforms and we ask that you do the same. So basically they didn't have no media objective is what I gathered from that. Mel was like, well, how much are you paying per post? And Tisha was like, look, girl, we look like we can't afford you, girl. Like, you just might have to sit this one out. Because clearly, we said it's free. Okay. So Mel was like, well, that's why you have sponsorships. I don't think they really thought this through. Like, and we can tell that they might not have been the original ones to think of the comeback group. Listen, this ain't yesterday Mel, okay? This ain't Mel with a blind bang. So Kimmie said, well, since Mel mentioned it, she brought up sponsorships. Like, how was this event going to be paid for? And Marsau was like, he said, we weren't going to charge or pay. Huh? What? I mean, you weren't going to charge the people. You want the people to come for free, fine, but you weren't going to pay. Well, who's going to pay? Who's paying for the venue? Who's paying for everything? So Mel, her confession said, look, just because we cordial again, and it seemed like you got me cordial right on time for this event. She didn't say that, but I threw that in. But she was like, just because we cordial again does not mean I'm going to work for free. I ain't doing you no favors, okay? Favor ain't fair. So basically, yesterday's price ain't today's price. So Marsau said they were basically going to be the ones to put the money up. Or I guess Carlos and the OWN network was going to put the money up. Yeah, they probably was hoping that they would pay for it. Marsau proposes a toast. And he keep trying to cut her off because Kimmie keep asking questions. He's like, let's propose a toast. No one agreed to anything. So everybody's like, what? What are we toasting to? Like, that doesn't make no sense. Why are we toasting? He done popped the chocolate in the bottle, the black champagne so fast. He like, wait a minute, y'all asking too many questions. Let's propose a toast. I thought that, Tisha, you claim to be the savvy businesswoman and that you're the owner and you got scope from red to black and all this stuff. But when you get asked questions, you know it's gonna be too hot up in that kitchen. You ready to get out. So Kimmie was like, well, are we participating? Like, I don't see why, or is this just something y'all doing? She's like, if y'all are taking it over, y'all are like spearheading it, then why do we need to show up to all these meetings? I don't think that's necessary. It's time consuming and you want us to do this for free. Marsau said you can participate as much or as little as you would like, but can we please toast? Marsau want to do that toast so bad. He said the champagne was getting cold when he meant to say the champagne was getting hot. Like, he's tired of it. He pushing like them champagne flutes. Like, if you don't toast, girl. Mel, her confessional was like, look, Kimmie, can you just please toast already? Because she ready to go. And she already knows she ain't doing it. Mel already knows she ain't showing up. So she gonna sit this one out. Kimmie is sounding like she wants to do it, but she got questions. I'm with Kimmie. If you want to be coming to me with something, you need to have all the facts. You need to have thought everything through. Don't be asking for me to be pitching in, because Kimmie's like, well, if you do it, let's say, for example, you got $100,000 sponsorship. Y'all two gonna just keep the sponsorship? And he was like, oh, no. Okay, no. When you figure it out, then come holler at me. But that is where the episode ends. It looks like next week is going to be even better. So meet me back here to check that out. Check out my other videos. Again, subscribe so I can keep posting content. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.